If you got a question, just raise your hand. I'll call on you.
Yeah, it's time. It's time for us to go out and play another team. Our preparation has been great. I think from the standpoint where I stand as a head coach, just this team has been as enduring and enjoyable to me as any I can remember. Just since we started in August, they've given us our coaches a fair shake. I've never enjoyed being on the field more with the team. Off the field's another matter that the whole world's talking about right now, but I've never enjoyed being on the field. And I'm ready to see where we're at. I think we have more different ways to go with this team than we've had in the past. So it's usually a little more buttoned up going to the season. We have more questions to answer, but I'm excited to start that journey and start playing somebody else to see where we're at. Our non-conference schedule is making us jump right into this thing. There's early travel. There's really good teams. There's all these things that are happening. There's 13 or 14 position players that we think deserve a shot to run out there and see if they can contribute and how they add to the synergy. What makes the best lineup, what makes the best defense, what makes the best pitching staff. We named 3 starters, pitchers who we absolutely believe in. We waved a flag, and the 3 winners of that get a chance to be starters for us the first weekend. But I'm also excited about the 3 guys that'll come in right behind the starters for this first weekend, because they have the potential to go compete. And I feel like if we would name 3 other starters, it feels like we could be just as competitive. So what does that mean? Is our higher end not there, or is our higher end in a bunch of numbers? I don't know, but I'm excited to get this thing started with these guys. I'm excited for Marciano. I'm excited for Sanders, who's been in the program and got 15 appearances last year. To see him take the next step and see how he's just continued to throw more and more strikes has been great. I'm excited for our captain to be right around 70% strikes, and a guy that's had trouble with injury each year to be put together and ready to go for this year. But I'm just as excited about Drew Whalen. I'm just as excited about Andreas Alvarez. I'm just as excited about Christian Chatterton. 2 of those 3 have been with us, and we've invested in them. Andreas Alvarez started a super regional in hopes of winning a game and helping us start working toward either extending our season or helping us to get to Omaha. So we believe in those guys. Chatterton's finished a game to help us win a series at Tennessee and in our league and all that stuff. So I'm excited about a lot of different things, but it's time to get out there and put the uniform on against another opponent.
Brian?
Butch mentioned 13 or 14 guys in the lineup. Possibly, will you make an effort to get all those guys in there at some point, whether it's starting or checking in, or what's sort of your plan for the weekend?
Yep, a lot of different ways. My biggest plan for the weekend is figuring out what Sunday looks like, with Friday and Saturday being beautiful and Sunday isolated, or we're expecting thunderstorms, isolated tornado, gust and things of that nature. So or would we wind up having to play a doubleheader on Saturday? That would really force you. Chase Fralick's not catching 2 games if we were forced into a doubleheader for sure. So you got Steele and Gregorio that's been competing for that spot, and those 2 guys have been playing some left field too. So I can see both of those guys getting in there this weekend. But one of them might catch if we wind up playing a doubleheader. Ethan Bingaman's undeniable. The freshman's our hottest bat right now going into the season. He's kept coming. You have some anchor pieces like Fralick and Rembert, Bub Terrell, Guevara. Guevara going to play short or third. He's probably going to play both. We probably got to look at different combinations. We got to go from like what we've seen in practice, shift to a game, what the coaches think, and get to the concept of the players making the lineup out. And the only way I know how to do that is get them out there. Even if we get clipped or there's a setback, every day we're trying to go out and give them the best we got. We owe it to whoever's on our schedule, whatever game it is, to play with a consistent standard and consistent effort. And whenever you don't do that, that's a failure. And in something, mental toughness or preparation or being together, or distractions, whatever that may be. But for me coming to work, for these guys getting out there playing a game, their job is to give a consistent best standard and best effort every time we take the field. So I think I'm a little more concerned about pride, if you want me to keep trying to answer the question. I think it's one of the 7 deadly sins, and I'm worried about pride of a player like me. And I'm going to be looking closely when the lineup's going to be so different for these first few games and can change more often, and guys coming in and out of lineups, that I think things can change enough. I'm not looking who's in the game always as a head coach. I'm looking to see who maybe is not in the game. And are they still with the team? Do they still have a good look in their eye? Are they still holding to a standard and effort that what we ask for, whether they're in or out of the lineup? Same thing I think you can tell about the pitching staff, where like you go 3 starters, you might could go 3 other starters that are just as good. I want those other 3 guys that are not, think they're just as good. I don't see how the 5th, 6th, 7th inning is not as important or more important than the first few innings of a ball game. I want a pitching staff that gets to the point where the championship teams I've been a part of, whoever's on the mound's your number 1 pitcher. That's how we should play behind him. That's how we should act. That whoever's out there in whatever situation, whoever's currently pitching for us is our number 1 pitcher. So maybe a dream on my part, but those are the things we're still trying to sell. And a removal of pride, and let us go out and play for a month and get locked in for those 10 SEC weekends, and let's see who can help us. Let's see if we can find a combination that we haven't even thought about that might wind up being the best way for us to go.
Yeah.
You sort of answered part of that question I was going to ask. Just talk about putting together a lineup, because you've got the potential to really have threats pop up and down the lineup no matter where they are.
Yeah, I think we can run a 6 or 7 man left-handed lineup. We got 2 switch hitters when you go Lucas Steele, Ryan Farber, who's really come on the last couple of weeks. We're getting excited that they can, Farber and Guevara can hold that down. Can Guevara and Ballou play a whole season? We never want to make excuses in our program, and I don't think we did. But having Guevara and Ballou out that last week, and we played so good in that regional, them 2 boys not being able to post for that, and then I think Fabian had a broke finger, and we said, can you play? And he really couldn't have an at bat, but he played because the other 2 were out. We had to have him. I think I'm excited about Guevara and Ballou. Like, I'm praying for their health for this year, because I want everybody to see what I know that they can do if they get to play a complete season. I do think it would help our ball club, but yeah, we're excited to kind of see all these different things. Gabe gave me 6 sheets of paper and a lineup on each, and who was left out each time, because every time you make a lineup, you're like, but these 2 are out. I've been presented lineups before, but I haven't had asterisks at the bottom. It says, but these 2 are out. That means something to me. It's like they should be in there, but in this setup versus this type pitcher. And if you want to see this guy at short, if you want to see this guy at first, well, these 2 guys are out. So that speaks to me loud and clear. And I do think it has a chance to be positive if I can keep my team together. This is a new challenge for us, because I think we've been in ball games in the 6th, 7th inning or later, and we've looked at who's coming up. This might be a good chance to pinch hit, but looking at that left and right-handed hitters that are available, you didn't feel like you're really making a step. And a lot of these times we've been punting and staying with what we got. Now I think we can absolutely, we need a lefty here, or here's a lefty. Oh, here's 2 or 3 real options. Here's 2 or 3 real right options. You got a freshman like Ty Thompson, the fastest guy on the team. All right, so we can pinch hit this guy. He can get on base. Ty Thompson can go run, and then we still have somebody could go out and play defense the next half if we wanted to do that. I'm excited, but the coach is going to have to do a better job. We're going to have to, if we're going to have the opportunity to have more moves, we're going to have to make more moves and look at more moves and figure out like how we can really run to to put ourselves in the best chance, especially late in a ball game. If you're trying to chase somebody or you know, I think the one area that's been a concern for me has been, you know, just overall defense. And you know, when you're top 10 in the country at doing something, that's hard to just give up. And I know it feels like that the college games get more offensive. I know it is. We go through these trends and it keeps building out. It's back offensive, but we have to be able to defend the field. And what's the balance of that, you know, from offense, defensive standpoint. So we got to keep figuring that out and make sure we can get our best team on the field late. But we might take a look at some risk. I think some teams have went a long way in our league the last few years of being able to put a couple of bats in the lineup and still being able to defend the field adequate enough to be the last team standing. I'm hunting for that. I'm hunting for the next steps for us to do. And everybody's been happy. Everybody's been aiming as high as they possibly can. There's, you know, 100 teams thinking they're going to Omaha, as they should. But all that's over now. Now the hype's over. Now we're down to playing games. But I have to be honest with you, because your question's deep to me, because I've been asking myself the same thing. What am I willing to do and take a look at? What risk are we willing to take not to do the same thing over and over, to see if we can find a little more squeeze out of this roster that could go a lot of different ways, to do some things that some really good teams in our league have been able to do a little bit more than us the last few years.
Kind of a loaded question, but what are some things about those three pitchers that gave you the confidence to start them this weekend? And then can you talk about the development from Sanders?
Yeah, they threw the most strikes. That was the biggest thing. And that wasn't everything, but that was one of the big flags we waved. Griffin Graves would have been in there with the lat pull, so he's out this weekend, but Griffin would have definitely been in there. It may have been three lefties throwing this weekend, you know. But the three guys that got the start, that was kind of the chase we set before them, and those guys absolutely did it. And, I mean, come on now, 2 or 3 years ago, Jackson Sanders was the number one prospect in his class. So he was coming, had a bright future. The industry knew it. Threw out of the pen some for us. He might throw out of the pen this year. You know, he's getting a chance to start this weekend, but you know, somebody's got to fill the shoes of, you know, like Myers last year, who probably had the best year of any pitcher on our staff. He saved so many games and come in and bridged the gap and came in behind starters and cleaned up stuff, or just gave us great length and helped us steady the thing or build a lead and keep going. So Carson Myers, that role needs to be done. But, you know, it's a sinker ball out of Jackson. And I'm more used to that right-handed, but a left-handed sinker, the off-speed stuff feels like it's getting a little bit better. But I think he's probably in-game, talking about our squad games compared to in-game last year. I think he's moved from that 55% to that 65, 66%, and being able to leverage a count more consistently is everything for somebody that was the number one pitcher in the country, you know, as a left-hander when he was coming out of high school. The experience that he got from last year, we didn't use him as much at the end of the year, but it was just we didn't leverage counts as well. And so it's amazing what that 10 to 12% strike percentage has done for him. The misses are not as big. So like if you're shooting at targets and then you pull it up, the grouping is smaller and better, and he's getting more swing and miss instead of the big misses. So just maturity, and he has his stuff set really good right now that I think the team's excited for. I do think we have to, whenever you say sinker baller, you better have an infield, especially your left side, ready to defend. So our board's going to have to make plays. They're going to have to defend balls. If Guevara's at third or if Todd Clay's at third, they're going to have to get swinging bunts, balls that are chopped. They're going to have to attack, take proper angles, and they're going to have to be able to throw off of 1 foot. Sometimes these in between, especially early in the season, the sinker ball guys require you to absolutely defend, especially the ground ball, much more. So I anticipate that. But, you know, with those ground ball, sinker ball guys, if it's going to gloves, it's really good. If it's going through, it's a challenge. But, you know, he also has, I would imagine he's leading us in double plays. The power of being able to throw one pitch and get 2 outs via like a double play. Those are some things that sinker ball guys, man, when they get on a roll and can make 1 pitch and get 2 outs, they can get going. So we all have trust and confidence that he's starting to look like everything that we thought he was going to be. And I sure hope he can reproduce what we've seen the last few weeks for everybody to see on Saturday.